A Cambridge professor who went from childhood struggles to the top of British academia is found dead at 41, 1 week after walking away from the job that made him famous. Jason Arday's story was once sold as pure inspiration. Then the plagiarism claims hit. The bio details got poked and the whole thing collapsed in public. Online, the reactions are split. Some call it a tragedy of pressure and pylons. Others say the house of cards finally fell. Here's the full picture of what happened, the allegations, the rumors, and what people are saying. Jason Arday became Cambridge's youngest black professor in 2023 at age 37, Sociology of Education, Jesus College Fellow. The narrative was that he overcame autism and developmental delays, stayed largely non-verbal until the age of 11 or 12, and only learned to read and write properly at 18. He talked about extreme charity runs, 30 marathons in 35 days, 300 miles in 3 days, and even 600 miles on a treadmill in 6 days, and claimed to have raised millions for good causes. His memoir, Great and Unfortunate Things, dropped right in the middle of the storm and leaned hard into that origin story. Supporters saw a rare success. Critics later started asking how the timeline and the numbers added up. The trouble started in late July 2026 when philosopher Nathan Koffners dropped a long Substack laying out side-by-side passages. He ran Arday's 2015 PhD thesis through detection software and flagged heavy overlap with a 2009 dissertation by Paula Myers. Reports later put the similar or identical sentences in the hundreds. Koffners and others also pointed to published papers that appeared to reuse interview quotes across different studies and different attributed speakers. A couple of journals had already issued quiet corrections for overlap. Liverpool John Moores University, which awarded the PhD, looked at it and said any problems were honest errors. The degree stood. Arday himself said he made mistakes, took responsibility for sloppy work, and insisted he was no liar and that the scrutiny felt personal and relentless. Then the biography took hits. Claims about visiting professorships at places like Ohio State and Glasgow were challenged by the institutions or by journalists. Charity fundraising totals and superhuman running feats got questioned. Some people dug for records and came up empty or found the numbers hard to square. The memoirs itself drew mixed reactions. Some called it moving, others called it self-aggrandizing, and hard to believe once the other doubts were circulating. Cambridge initially framed the early criticism as a smear. Then on the 5th of August, the university said it had new information about his qualifications and honorary appointments and was opening an investigation. Arday resigned the same day for the professorship and the college fellowship. He said the personal cost had become too high. 9 days later, on the afternoon of 14th of August, emergency services went to an address in Battersea, South London. A 41-year-old man was found unresponsive and pronounced dead at the scene. Police treated it as an unexpected and not suspicious. A file was prepared for the coroners. Arday's family confirmed it was him. They described a years-long campaign of abuse and misinformation since he took the Cambridge Post, said it had been too much for a gentleman who always tried to see the best in people, and asked for privacy. Cambridge's vice-chancellor expressed sadness. Education officials did the same and urged people to remember real families were involved. Online, the conversations went exactly where you'd expect in 2026. One side focused on the academic record, if large chunks of a PhD and papers look copied, and if key life claims don't hold up under checking. Then the appointment and the celebration of it look like a failure of basic standards. They pointed to diversity hiring pressures and argued Cambridge ignored earlier internal warnings. The other side focused on the volumes and tones of the coverage. The identity of some of the loudest critics, that's Coffners, had previously lost a Cambridge-linked role over his own writing on race and intelligence, and the speed with which a man's entire reputation was dismantled in public. Andrew Neil posted that he found Arday's academic work unimpressive, yet still felt sadness, saying the man had been used and left without support when he needed it. Replies range from "he chose the path and the consequences" to accusations that the pylons was racially charged and that institutions had a duty of care they failed. Some users called him a fraud and a race hustler. Others treated the death as evidence that public shaming had gone too far. A few noted the memoir was still going on sale and wondered how the publisher would handle it. Common questions floating around was the PhD investigation thorough enough? Why did Cambridge hire him so fast and defend him so hard at first? How much of the personal story was exaggerated versus misunderstood neurodivergence? Did the intensity of the media and social media focus cross into something uglier than accountability? And the awkward one nobody likes. When someone under the level of public pressure dies suddenly, why do you talk about responsibility without either excusing real problems or turning a death into a political football? The facts on the table are the plagiarism detections, the dispute claims, the resignation, the police description of the death, and the family's description of the preceding years. Everything else is interpretation, and the internet is full of both. Jason Arday went from celebrated historic appointment to resigned professor under investigation to death at 41. In a square of few weeks. The academic question about his work and records are real and documented. The human cost is still real. People online are still arguing over which part matters more and who failed whom. The coroner's process will add whatever official details it can. For now, the public record is what it is, a high-flying career that hit turbulence, a flood of allegations and defenses, and a sudden end that left everyone arguing in the comments. Now don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next one.